Hi, viewers. Good afternoon to you. I'm Apostle Helen Rudokeno, coming all the way from the street of Amsterdam, where we are based. And this is Majesty TV. So today, we are going to look into a topic that is almost like a taboo. So we are breaking the taboo around forced marriages. So if you are out there and you want to know what it is, please join us in this broadcast. For introduction, this program will be used to place the subject matter of forced marriages within the local or public domain in order to open up the topic for discussion among migrant people and by our key societal figures in Amsterdam Southeast. The topic is one of the harmful practices forbidden by the Dutch government and also the United Nations. So through this discussion, we hope to shed more light on the practice as well as educate the broader international community within this country. We will be looking at the basic meaning of forced marriage, why it happens, its impact on the victims, prevention mechanisms, and the local or legal recourses available to victims. What do you understand by the term forced marriage? First and foremost, does it exist? Have we ever heard of anything called forced marriage?
Absolutely, it exists.
Okay.
And in my estimation, there are two types of forced marriages. One is where parents betroth their daughters to elderly men
Okay.
against the consent of their daughters,
Yes.
yet for financial gains or financial benefits they will get from the parents of their daughters, they force them into marriages. And then secondly, the other type of forced marriage is where people travel, immigrants travel to certain countries, and to be documented, they are forced into relationships or into marriages that is not consummated in truth, but just to acquire documentation. So these are the two types of marriages that people are forced into. Some men are forced to marry women, enable them get their documentation and stay in most of the European countries. And obviously, it creates problems for their siblings. Yet, because of documentation, they yield to the process and stay in the forced marriages.
Wow. Really? Wow. Yes, if you have something to say.
Just like Chief Taki just said, forced marriages exist, but it's not quite common here in Europe.
Okay.
In my opinion, the statistics of children being forced into marriages
Yeah.
are not it's not a common practice among the Europeans,
No.
but it's a very prevalent practice in many parts of Africa, right? Including Nigeria, where we came from.
Yeah.
Circumstantially, these are circumstantial marriages where obviously certain daughters who are deemed not decisive enough or not given the opportunity to decide for themselves who they love or who they want to marry.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And these things are done, the factors responsible for this are basically from the parents of the girls,
Okay.
who either they encourage them, or they force them, or they bargain them into these marriages. For example, many years ago, if particularly in the suburbs, in the villages,
Yeah.
certain areas of Africa, if a man owes debt, if you are owing a debt,
Yeah.
and the debt is huge,
Yes.
and you cannot pay back,
Okay.
then you are sometimes required to give out your daughter,
Wow.
that daughter who may also just be a teenager, to a man, sometimes even older than the father. Okay? And then this young girl is given to the man to pay back the debt.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
And the young teenage girl would obviously not be happy
Of course.
because she's going to look at this old man as too matured,
Yeah.
a man that is not even in our generation at all.
Yeah.
He may even be the generation of our grandfather. Okay? But
This is wicked.
they are required to cope, to accept, and stay with those men who would eventually come to pay their bride price, and they go to live with these men.
Yeah. Okay.
And these men sometimes are even men who are already married.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then this young girl is forced to stay there.
Yes.
And before you know it, sometimes she gets pregnant for the same man. And she begins to produce children.
Yeah.
And this young, teenage, innocent girl
Yes.
is
Been deprived.
required by community values to remain with that old man
This
as
is-
her husband.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the reasons why these things became prevalent in Africa. Secondly, another
Wow.
circumstance is greed.
Yes.
Greed.
Yes.
Certain parents who are politically affiliated, who are business oriented, who are members of certain societies,
Yeah.
give their daughters, out to certain business associates.
Yeah.
For example, if I'm a businessman and I'm a friend to another big businessman or somebody in government who is capable of bringing me contracts, okay?
Yes.
I would, and we've been friends for some time. We've been, collaborating in one or two businesses. I would give my daughter
Yes.
out to his own son
Yes.
for them to marry, even if my daughter does not even know the son.
Oh.
And then I would
That's
now
bad.
encourage my daughter to marry the son of my friend so that the business relationship will remain in the family.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Or the political
That's for political gain or for monetary gain.
monetary gains.
Wow.
So
Thank you so much.
Thank you. In my native Ghana,
Yeah.
for reasons of poverty,
Yeah.
parents allow elderly men to, I will say they betroth their daughters to elderly men who will start paying the school fees,
Oh.
it's what I said,
providing foodstuffs
Stuff.
and money to the parents. Their daughter may be about 6 or 5, and an elderly man over 60 will be supporting the family
Because of that child?
because of that child.
No.
And wait until the child reaches the ages. According to the United Nations,
It's 18.
children around or teenagers 18, 4.8% are forced into marriages, and below 12, almost 15% are also forced into such marriages. And my concern here is the abuse these victims suffer in the hands of these adults. Imagine an adult person just tell the parents, oh, let my girl come and wash things for me or serve me domestically, and it will end up abusing the girl sexually at that tender age of maybe 11 or 12.
Hey, this is
And
terrible.
there are instances the victims run away.
Yeah.
And when they go back to their parents, because they don't have any roof over their heads, they are forced to go back to their parents, who will, there are instances in the,
Compel them to go
Yes.
back again to the man.
go back again to the man.
Hey, this is
Some are
wicked.
even killed
Yeah.
or banished from home for disrespecting the wishes of their parents. You know, they are taking money from these elderly men. And I don't understand how, because of financial difficulties, a parent can betroth a daughter to an elderly man into marriages that are not with the consent of their daughters. And it ends up mostly in abuse of these children.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's very pathetic. And there is, because it is something going on behind the scenes and quietly within the family, it is difficult for the social workers to intervene. It's not possible because you wouldn't even know of it. And these children have nowhere to go, no place to report to. And even if you will have the courage, the children have the courage to go to the police.
Yes, the
They
police
will
will
be
do
told,
nothing about it.
this is a domestic issue. Go and settle it at home. And then the parents will be forcing you back into the home of the man. It's a pathetic situation.
Another dangerous dimension to it is this. That this we know in Nigeria, particularly in the northern part of the country,
Yeah.
where forcing an underage child, girl, to marry another man, an older man, is predicated on their religion.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
It's predicated on their religion, where they tell you that the religion dictates that an 11-year-old child is fit to marry. Okay? And they tell you it is prescribed under what they refer to as the Sharia law. Okay? That prescribes an underage minor, a child, to be betrothed to a full-grown man.
Exactly.
A full-grown man.
Yeah.
And it is this practice supported by
Religion.
by these religious laws.
Yes, yeah.
Where a man of 60, 50, 45, 70, depending on how rich he is,
Yes.
sexually abused and can have as much as 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 young teenage girls in his house as his wives. Okay? And these things, in fact, it has come to a stage where even the police, the social workers, the community, the government does not intervene.
Are we saying that forced marriages are not done in Europe? We don't, because we are only focused in Nigeria and Ghana. Are we saying that we don't see it in Europe?
It's not prevalent in Europe.
Look,
It's not prevalent among the Europeans. No.
because some of these people we've been mentioning, they have migrated to Europe. The Nigerians you are talking about, the Ghanaians, they are all in Europe.
It can also it can
So
only happen.
if they are in Europe, what makes you think that they will not practice the same thing?
Look,
Yes.
whatever happens in Africa,
The same
it happens
religion,
here.
the same. We also have those religions also here.
Yes, it happens only in certain people, that belong to certain religion. Even here in America, in Europe, in England, and everywhere, where certain people who are fanatically religious
Yes,
in their own religious beliefs, okay, have daughters here in Europe.
they don't allow them
And
to
they-
cross over.
They give these daughters to
Whoever they want,
Whoever
and
they
whoever
want.
they wish.
even if the children were born in Europe and they have the
Yes.
European, these parents are so fanatical and dangerous to the extent that they force their daughters to marry certain people they want them to marry, even here in Europe.
And their sons as well.
You see, the question you ask, it
Yes.
is obvious, like we've said earlier,
Yeah.
that these forced marriages has countless
Repercussions.
consequences on those children
Yes.
who are victims, who are the victims. Both mentally, emotionally, socially, psychologically, and otherwise. These children are truly victims of a very, very bastardized practice. Now, first of all, a child becomes a victim of this. One of the consequences that these little girls are not allowed to grow, to understand what marriage is all about.
Yes.
the responsibilities of marriage,
Yes.
the engagements of marriage, the emotional investment a woman needs to do to be able to remain happy in marriage. These little children, girls,
They've never
are
been taught
not
of it.
given the opportunity to grow and get matured to be able to make choices for themselves. Okay, so in other words, what is the meaning of that? It is, you see, you are forced to do something where you are not willing. That is obviously slavery. Okay, so in my own opinion, in my own definition, one of the consequences, how it affects these girls as victims, is that they are enslaved in the name of marriage.
You've made mention of the physical and the distance, but you've not spoken about the health wise, the health of the wellness of the girl. 2 years ago, I went to Nigeria, and then what was all over the air was that, hey, women are smelling, So I was wondering. So the driver that picked us was giving us a hint. He said there's this thing called vaginal fistula. He said it's everywhere. But vaginal fistula comes as a result of this thing we are talking about now. When the pelvis of a child is still immature, it's not ripe,
and she's
you
penetrated.
go about penetrating her. So while you are doing that, you have definitely, you're trying to make this you're trying to make this girl become what she's not. So when it's time to give birth, because she has conceived when she's not matured, all of those areas,
Complications.
doing the pushing and all of those areas begin to push. So while they are pushing, a little child
They are
pushing
destroying
to bring
the-
her, you destroy a lot of things over there. So there are so many leakages now in the body. So because of that leakage, the one for that's supposed to contain where the stools come from is leaking. The vagina itself is leaking. Every area is leaking. So the only thing you see is that all of those things pump into the uterus and they pump into the vagina. They are coming out.
Madam, the
And
million-dollar
unfortunately,
question. Yes.
when they mix up like that, the smell is worse than a dead fish.
You see?
So now this same man who have violated her wouldn't want to be sleeping with her anymore. The man now will go for another woman.
Another girl.
Because the girl is smelling terribly. Because they say the odor that comes out from there is something
like a
nobody
dead body.
can. They say it's like worse than a dead fish. Well,
Thank you.
that is it for now. You see, it's not good. Those of you who have listened to us, it's not good to force your daughter or force your son
most
into any
are
forced
guilty.
marriage. It's not good at all.
Most parents are guilty.
You see how people are born in here in the studio?
Yes.
It's not
Most
good.
parents are
It's
guilty.
not good in the eyes of man. It's not also good in the eyes of the Lord.
You know,
it's not good in the sight
how
of the
can
society.
we
So please
solve this problem?
Let us avoid this.
How can
and
we solve it?
If people are already into it, let us believe that there will be a way of escape. That something will happen that will make our government to become normal, and then they can fight this alongside with us.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we will just make an empty noise,
Noise.
which nobody will hear. But I believe that people have heard us today, and I want to thank God once again for 3 of you who decided to come and open up this topic with us. God richly bless you.